So into the charts we go, and we have basically another pause day on Bitcoin. You can see here that from yesterday's pause day, today just an ever so slight downtick. We were a little bit lower on the day, but have floated back up. Now again, what's interesting about this is, could we be starting to make a little bit of a bullish pattern on a micro basis? When I use the term micro, I mean in the very short term. So could it be a short-term move to the upside that could be coming? Now the first thing that I see here is that as of now, yes, this is sideways consolidation right here inside of this up move, but it's still considered to be immature. Immature patterns obviously have a lower probability of playing out versus mature patterns. But it is something that I'm going to keep an eye on here, because if by Monday or Tuesday we're still basically sideways, you actually could be expecting some sort of move up on Bitcoin, maybe back to the 17,500 level, 17,600 level. Now, why is that level important? Well, number one, it's these bodies tops. But if I zoom out, look at this, guys. That's basically back to this low from June. So, amazingly, it all kind of comes back to these levels, these very, very important levels. So, again, 17,600, that's the low from June. That's also the body high right here. In addition, and if we got a little bullish pattern, what that tells me is that will now be resistance. So it was support. We obviously broke it here. Now you're looking at it as potential resistance in the near term. Now, again, as we get into December and into January, I think we start to look for signals that regulation is coming. We all know it's coming, but what I mean is actual statements like, hey, we're drawing it up. Here is the framework. Gary Gensler may be getting more involved. And again, at this stage, I'm a champion of regulation. Get that regulation in there. We all want to make money on our investments. The only way that's going to happen is if we get some transparency. And the basics of it, again, and I've said this a million times before, is that the only way Bitcoin goes to 500,000 or even 100,000 or even 200,000 is if institutional money, big money, gets involved. After FTX, big money's out. They're out, folks. I'm just going to be flat open with you. I've talked to a ton of people that were basically on the fence prior to FTX. Now they're not even going near cryptocurrency. And you can't blame them, right? I mean, when you look at, how many big money players got duped. I mean, you have Tom Brady, you have some other sports stars, you have celebrities that were pushing this thing. I mean, heck, Sam Bankman-Fried was involved with a lot of, the politicians. Kevin O'Leary, I mean, he's not a politician, but he's a big money player. And again, the bottom line is that anyone can get fooled, including myself, right? I mean, you just don't know sometimes. In bull markets, it's very easy to hide shady activities. It's in bear markets where it's very, very hard. And if you look at the big blowups, Enron, WorldCom, Bernie Madoff, all these other things, all these blowups, including Lehman Brothers, it all occurred in bear markets because that's when leverage and risk dramatically collapse and money's hard to come by. The way these kind of shady characters hide is by getting new investors to always put in more money, which makes them able to pay off any investors that are getting kind of shaky, right? You just get those people out, you put more money in. Well, in a bear market, the money dries up, right? There's no more money to come in a bear market, and you can't hide the shadiness anymore. And again, unfortunately, that's what we've seen in these scenarios. I'm sure there are more out there in the crypto sphere, hopefully not in any big entities as big as FTX. All right. So again, let's keep an eye on that. I'm going to keep an eye on the pattern over the next couple days, how that's forming. We still are holding this little pivot low, which is around 15,700 and change, which again was tagged right through here. And again, are we putting in a micro bull? I still am in the camp that we're going to go ultimately lower, but in the near term, nothing says it can't go back to 17.5, 17.6, that's for sure. All right, taking a look at that. And by the way, that would be fantastic if you think about holding near or some of these other ones like a Cardano that we've added to. That'll just give extra boost to them. Speaking of which, here's your chart on Ethereum. Ethereum, 3 bars to the upside, now 1 pause candle. Like earlier we were saying with Bitcoin, it was down earlier in the day. You could see the tail right there. That means price traded as low as that point before rallying back to the upside. Still down on the day, but essentially a flat day. And again, a nice little down move here. Reversal though. Look, we reversed that entire 2-bar down within 3 candles, and now can we make a bullish pattern? By the way, what type of pattern could this be? It's a very small pattern, but again, you get this type of move and then kind of a flag pattern. Same thing goes for Bitcoin. What do we call it? It's a cup and handle pattern. All right, it's a bullish pattern, but again, that's all contingent on multiple sideways to slightly lower candles that kind of go like this, creating that handle. Here's your cup. Your handle has to be either flat, which is a 90-degree angle, or it can be up to a 45-degree angle, right? So that's your cup basically has to stay within here for it to have the high probabilities. If your handle is like this, nope, low probability setup. And again, the angles of charts, the angles of pattern formations are of the utmost importance. And I can't stress this enough. I see so many people out there and they're like, oh, this pattern didn't work out. Oh, technicals is junk. And for number one, there's nothing that's in stone, right? Probabilities by stating that it's a probability signals that it's more likely to happen, but it's obviously not 100%. Like it's 70%, there's still 30% chance it doesn't happen. In addition, so many people out there really don't know the real rules. They kind of make it up as they go. They're like, oh, that's generally a cup and handle pattern. Sure, let's go with it. It's kind of like it, so we're going to call it. Well, anything that's kind of like it means that the probabilities are going to be lower, right? If it's not within that pure form setup, the probabilities drop. So then all of a sudden, instead of, batting 70, 80%, a lot of these chart setups are 50-50. And it's like, okay, well, at 50-50, it's just a gamble anyways. Technical trading is not a gamble. If you know what you're doing, you're consistently putting the odds in your favor. Doesn't mean you'll win every time. It just means you'll win more often than not. And obviously, I do my best to get my odds into 70 to 80% realm. All right. Let's go to Cardano real quick. Cardano, second day little pullback again. Is this a little bullish pattern? I don't know. It's a little bit. It didn't really reverse this move here. It's still okay, but again, I'd like to see some sort of move up. Resistance on this chart around 32 to 33 cents right here. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a push through that. NEAR continues to do fine, basically trading at $1.64. So we're still in the money very nicely on this. Still love the bottoming tail. Again, as long as the bottoming tail holds, and even as long, really what I want to see is I want to see us hold this trend line here at $1.57, $1.56. If we just kind of consolidate here for a few days, I think then you get that next lift up. Again, target should be around 180, maybe getting as high as $1.92 on NEAR. Solana, which has been very strong recently, really just a pause day today. I like how it's basically just reversing this small move here, still staying around $14. That's good. Like what I like to see here is see how you had this time count to the downside, meaning 7 candles down, and then just in 3 candles you negated that. That's always a bullish sign, okay? It would be, so one of the things you look for here, and this is a good example, is when you have a sharp move down, like the macro is 1, 2, 3, 4 candles down, and then you just got one small up and then down, and then this is all. So this in the macro is not good. This is a macro bearish pattern. In the near term, when you have this move and then you quickly negate it within a couple candles, it obviously tells you that there were sellers here, but it took X amount of days to drop this, and then there were so many buyers that it reversed it in 2 or 3 days. That's bullish. So near term, you would say, okay, this is bullish. If you can continue sideways, you might be able to get a move up to about 17 to 18 bucks. Then we'll see if it can get through. But ultimately, I still think that best case scenario on Solana is we get back to 26, 27 here. That would be, by the way, the most amazing best case. And then ultimately it probably has at least a move down to double bottom. Whether or not we look back and say, oh, this was the bottom on Solana long term, I don't know. But I do think that, again, any sort of up move, you probably get that down move later on from the macro pattern, the bigger pattern. Avalanche, nice little move here. Again, 3 candles down, 2 candles back up. That's good. Now you're forming potentially that handle. Let's watch to see what angle it's forming there. Again, keeping an eye very close on that. So I think that's really where we stand at this point. I'm not going to waste a lot of time going over a lot of other cryptos. We'll keep it somewhat short today. I got 2 videos that I'll do Saturday and Sunday anyways. We can kind of look at a few other cryptos. But the bottom line is, again, pause in the crypto. Not a bad thing in the crypto sphere to see pauses. The key is, does it make a bull flag, or in many cases, a cup and handle pattern? If that's the case, you might get a little bit of an up move early next week, which again maybe gives us some profits on NEAR, maybe gets us close to being in the money on Cardano and a few other ones out there, and we can go from there. All right, you guys have a good one. As always, thank you for being members, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.